Hey guys, EBPMAN here, and in today's video we're going to talk about audio. More importantly, how can you very affordably improve the audio of any video recording that you're doing? And we're talking about, it's not just video that you're recording on a DSLR, professional DSLR, but if you're recording on a smartphone because you're a realtor and you're showing a property, or you're recording a YouTube video like this. Audio is very important. So today we're going to take a look at this product from Comica. This is the Comica Boom XD. It's a very affordable solution that will improve your videos probably even 1,000%. Let's check it out. Now today we're taking a look at the Comica Boom XD, and this is the D2 version. So this version has two receivers. These two receivers mean that you can have two individuals that are being recorded or mic'd, and then one receiver that's actually capturing all that audio and putting it into your smartphone, or it could be putting it into a DSLR. Now the neat thing about this is that this is also using 2.4 gigahertz, which makes it incredibly compatible, and virtually it's going to be error-free when it comes to signal interference. Now, depending on the situation you're in, I wanted to show you something else because there are several versions of this specific solution. So you notice I have the D2, which says that I have two transmitters and one receiver. But you notice that in this illustration here, you have other models. Well, there is a model that you can actually connect directly into your iPhone. And let's face it, most people are using their iPhones nowadays for even recording property tours, as I mentioned, as a realtor, or if you're doing starting a YouTube channel, or you're just doing something on Instagram. So you can improve your audio by having one of these units that directly connects into your iPhone. You can also have one that connects into your Android phone. So there's a USB-C version as well. And you know, the iPad Pro also has USB-C. So if you are recording from an iPad Pro, you can do that as well. The bottom line is that there are several versions here. So after you see this video, and if you're interested in a kit like this, choose the one that suits your needs. Now, as we take a look at the features, let's take a look at some of the specs that we have here in the back. So we already talked about that this is a 2.4 gigahertz digital wireless solution. And again, it's global frequency free, meaning that you don't have to have any special licensing and you don't have to worry about really any kind of interference. You're going to have two transmitters, which we're going to see here. So this is going to be able to allow you to have two people talking, but you could also only go at one. So it supports both, but it's great to have the two. You do have a visual interface that you're going to be able to see everything displayed. You have an internal and external mic. So you have the ability also to have a lapel mic connected to you, and we'll see it in a couple seconds. You have an audio monitor, which is really important. That means that you can actually hear what's going on. You'll be able to put in an earpiece or headphones and actually listen to what the volume levels look like before you do any kind of recording. You also then have mono or stereo mode, right? And so if you're going to be recording with two people, it'll be mono. If it's only one person, then it will be in stereo mode. You have broadcast quality audio, and we're going to switch audio in a couple seconds, and we'll be using that as our audio source. And you can see some of the other information that we have here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's in the box so you can see all the accessories that you get and why this is such a great value. Now inside the box, you're going to get all these accessories. So let's go over them. So first, this is your receiver. And as you can see, you see some of the lines here popping up on the receiver. And that's because the mics that you see right here, these two transmitters are picking up what I'm saying. So this is the receiver, and this is going to be connected to your DSLR or your smartphone. And you can see that right here. Then these are the two transmitters. And what you can see here is that these transmitters have a mic here, and they also have some areas that you can plug things in. But we'll look at that in a little bit more detail. And you can see that they have kind of like these LCDs there, or LEDs. You have these two little dead cats that they call, which is to eliminate wind. So if you're outside and you're doing a recording, let's say you're vlogging, or like I said, for a realtor, this is great. If you're outside showing a property, you put this on it and you're using this as if it was a mic like this. You'll basically be able to eliminate any kind of scratchy wind that comes through. Now you have a whole host of accessories here. So first of all, this is your lapel mic. So if you want to connect something so that you have something closer to your mouth, this is one thing that you can do. Highly recommend these. I use these a lot. So you have two to be able to support the two units that you have there. You have a USB-C cable for charging. Great. And then what I love about this setup is how error and user-friendly these things are. So you have a lot of cables. And if you deal with audio, you know, there's TRX and there's all these different type of acronyms that are used to define what the cables are, but these cables are made error-free. They're made for both the, I would say, the professional and also the consumer. Because look at what it says right here. So you're looking at this cable and you're like, gee, what is this cable for? Well, look right here. It says it's for Canon, Nikon, etc. So this is the cable that you use for your DSLR. So that's going to be connected to this guy right here, and it would be connected to the DSLR. Now we have more cables. So over here, as I look at this cable, I go, wow, what is this one for? And notice that it's a different color. And what I'll show you is when you're looking at the contact points here, you notice how this one has these 3 bands and this one has 2. Well, that's what makes the difference between something that works with a smartphone and something that works with the DSLR. So, but you don't need to know that. Why? Check this out. It says for smartphone right there, making it really easy, saying, hey, plug this into the receiver, and this is going to go into your smartphone, and you're set to go. And then over here, we have another one. And this other cable is really for specific phones, right? Or actually cameras. And you'll notice right here, it says that this is for Sony. So there's some unique things about the Sony camera line, and also Fujitsu and also Panasonic, that it says if you want to connect this to a phone, use this for Sony's. And you remember, we were looking at this one over here, and this one it said this is for Canon. So Canon and Nikon and Sony, again, error-free. You don't have to try to figure this out because everything is labeled. Now taking a closer look at the units themselves. So here we're looking at the receiver, and you'll notice that each one of these is in a different frequency. You can see kind of like the bars coming up right there. And it's just because it's picking up everything that I'm saying. As I flip this over, you'll notice that you have different volume adjustments. You see A or B. You can actually reduce the volume or increase the volume depending on, I'll say, how loud the individual is. So if you are recording this with a partner and that partner of yours has a very loud voice, you can say, whoa, this is coming across too loud. You can actually lower the volume so that they're not coming out that loud in the video. You do also have the ability to power this off. You have a reset switch, and you can switch between that mono mode and also stereo. And right now you see it says mono because each channel is being used to capture one of these. If you were only using one, then you can switch it to stereo if that's something that you'd like to do. On this side, you'll notice that you have your headphone jack. You have, this is the out. So the cables that we were talking about, so remember when we were looking at these right here, and we said that I think this is for the Sony. Yeah, this is for the Sony. Basically what you would do is you plug this in here, and then this would go into your camera. You know, that's that simple. And then you have your charging port. You have a nice little clip here, and this little clip will fit nicely on the shoe of your camera at the very top. And then as we take a look at the transmitters, so this is what those that are speaking are going to be wearing. You'll notice that it also has an area for a plug-in mic. This is a mic itself. And you know, as I tap, you can see how that goes up, because this is picking up any tap motion. And then also this is what you would put your dead cat on. So this goes right here to cover that up if you are just using it almost like a handheld mic as you're doing some recording, because maybe you're not going to be on camera. You then also have your USB-C charging reset switch. Over here you can mute, so that's pretty cool because you can have people that are wired up and then maybe have them all set. And then when you go up to them, you can actually unmute things so that they can connect. It has a pair button, but as soon as you turn these things on, they auto pair. And then you can see here that on this screen, it's just telling you everything that's going on. It says that, you know, it's connected, that the mic is on, the battery level, and everything that you need to know about just this specific transmitter. The same thing you see is with this next one. They're identical. You know, one of the things that you may want to do, even though it says it right there, you notice how one says A or B, is you could label these too if you'd like, but I see no need for it because it's actually on screen, and then they match up over here, so you see A and B on this side. So pretty straightforward. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to switch audio sources so that the rest of the recording can be done through these systems. Now from this point forward, we're using the Comica Boom XD as our audio source. And as you can see right here, I have it around, let's say, about a foot away from my mouth, and I'm just speaking normally. I'm going to go ahead and bring it closer to my mouth, and then as I'm speaking, we'll see if there's any difference in the audio, if it gets louder or if it stays pretty normalized. Now again, this is a great option for those of you who may be doing a recording and you're not on camera, right? So the camera's facing somewhere else. Let's say you're doing a product showcase and you're just showing the product and you just have the mic held in your hand like this. Or let's say you're a realtor and you're recording a property and you're doing a walkthrough, and all you do is you have this in your hand and you're doing that verbal description of the property. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch to the handheld version, or actually the lapel mic version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on mute so that we can switch mics. Alright, so now I have the lapel version, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the lapel version right here on my shirt. You may hear some movement right now, but now I have the lapel version on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue the conversation. So now this is a great version or a great use case where you're on camera like I am right now, and you can notice that I have a black shirt, so it blends in pretty nicely. It has that that little foam on it that makes sure that it will not be rubbing around and making noise. It does not have a dead cat, unfortunately. So there are versions where you can actually have one of these on there too. In this case, we don't have one on there. But how do I sound? So let's go ahead and do this. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. This is what the Comica Boom XD with the lapel mic sound like. So this should sound pretty great. And the nice thing about this is that if I were holding this in my hand, unfortunately with this, you tend to move this around and that will affect your audio. So having something like this as a stationary is probably, even for me, the preferred way to do it, even if I'm not on camera, because it's going to keep the mic and you know, from the distance from my mouth all in the same place. Now from a battery perspective, you can expect 5 hours of battery life, and then the distance is around 50 feet. So your subject could be 50 feet away from where your camera is, and I think that's pretty fantastic. Now from a battery life, if you're concerned about the 5 hours, all you have to do is put in a USB-C battery backup, you know, just plug something into the receivers and the transmitters, and you can extend the battery well beyond 5 hours because it also works when it's connected to a battery backup. So I think it's a pretty solid solution.